If I walk this road, then you can talk shit. Gambling with my life, but I refuse to go for nonsense. This the life I chose, this all I know, ain't many options. Vow to tell the truth, I make the rules like I'm Fleece Johnson.
Hey, what's up? This is Big Lee with Hustler Spirit. I got a special guest in the house today. He goes by the name of J.D. Wilkerson, also known as BishopLo. How you doing, Bishop?
What's up, brother? Blessings to you.
Appreciate it, man. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Go ahead and tell us a little backstory about your upbringing and your childhood, and who's Mr. BishopLo, who he is.
I'm a 49-year-old male from Brooklyn, New York, born in January of '76. Just celebrated a birthday this month. Happy birthday to me. And I grew up.
Happy birthday.
Bless you, brother. I was born in Brooklyn and moved to Schenectady, New York, upstate New York, when I think I was about 8, 9 months old, whatever. My mom's moved me upstate with my pops. And my father was a Reverend Dr. John Wilkerson, Sr. And my mother at the time was a Baptist also. My father was the pastor of a Baptist church, and my mother was also a Baptist at the time. She later became a Jehovah's Witness when I was about 4 or 5 years old. It was a rough upbringing, you know. I had to study the Bible in Hebrew and Greek. I had to study the Bible every day after school. I was tested. I was locked in the basement and tested on Fridays. And if I failed the test, I was in for a rough weekend. So that led to me becoming a runaway. A runaway at the age of 7 years old. 7 years old was the first time I ran away. And when I ran away, I would stay in the New York City subways, in the tracks, you know, with the rats and all that. You know, I used to talk to rats as a kid because they were my friends. You know, they didn't bother me. So, long story short, the city of Schenectady took me away from my family, my parents, and they put in something called the PINS petition, person in need of supervision. So they put that petition on me. First, they put me in a mental institution called Elmhurst. That was a hospital in Queens, New York, until they could find me a foster home. So they found me my first foster home, and it was downhill from there. You know, downhill from there. I went from foster homes to group homes, but while I was in the foster homes, they transitioned me to places called residential treatment facilities. They're basically homes for inner city at-risk youth, is what they call us. Children who were wayward, they wanted to do. So while I was in these facilities as a child, you know, it was rough. It was real because there was a bunch of gay male staff members, homosexual male staff members that were pedophiles. And I can drop the name of the place. It was called the Children's Village in Dobbs Ferry, New York. If you care to Google it, Google any horror stories of children that survived the Children's Village. I'm included in those survivors. As a child, I had to fight off grown-ass men who were basically booty warriors. They were oh yeah, man. You know, speaking of which, there's a gentleman out there named Fleece Johnson. I don't know if anybody ever heard of him, but I think he went in the penal system at the age of like 15 or 16 years old. He did like 40 years. And he's you heard of him? He's affectionately known as the booty warrior. So I knew I knew a few booty warriors as a child, and just keeping it real, as Cat Williams said to the Auntie Shay Shay, he had to protect that virgin asshole of his. I grew up as a child having to protect my virgin asshole. Excuse my language, I'm sorry, but that's what was said, and that's how, that's what was out there. That's what Cat Williams said. So,
Right.
I say that to say this. I respect Fleece Johnson because he's the realest that I ever seen. You know what I'm saying? I don't care nothing about I don't care nothing about nobody's sexuality. You know what I'm saying? To each his own. Let every man live his own life. You know what I'm saying? As long as you don't bring that to me, we good. But
Right.
I grew up having to fend off men that wanted to beat you and take it. Beat your ass, knock you out, and take it. I watched that growing up. So listening to Fleece tell his stories, as I've watched many of his videos and listened to his stories, I can relate to that shit because I experienced that as a child. Although it never happened, I started a martial arts, which my experiences with those grown men growing up in those facilities led me to martial arts. So I got into martial arts at about age 8, 9 years old. I got into Aikido, Tai Chi, Judo, and a few other forms. So I got, I was able to defend myself against these grown men. That's basically who I am, man. I'm just a guy that knows how to circumvent my circumstances, and it's my mission in life to inspire others to learn to circumvent their circumstances. What do I mean by that? I mean that your circumstances should not define who you are. And even if you are dealt a shit hand, that's the circumstances. It's a shit hand. You can circumvent. That means go around it. You can turn it around by positive thinking, positive affirmations. It's just my mission in life to inspire whoever I can because I've seen a lot. I've experienced a lot. I've survived a lot.
Now, that was a so you ran away at 7 years old.
Yeah, first time.
And
in the winter.
For the first time.
It was Christmas. I'll tell you how it happened. My mother had become a Jehovah's Witness. And she had left my father, the pastor. So he was in Schenectady. She moved me to Brooklyn, New York. And she was now a Jehovah's Witness. So it was Christmas time, and I wanted to. I was 7 years old. Christmas. I wanted to spend Christmas with my family. My aunt lived right two buildings up the block from my mother in Brooklyn, New York. No, wait a minute. When I was 7, they were across the street from one another. When I was 7, my mom lived in 175. My aunt lived in 170, Hawthorne Street, Brooklyn, New York. Shout out Hawthorne Street, Hawthorne Massive. So I wanted to spend Christmas with my aunt and her son, my cousin. Okay, my grandmother had just come up for Thanksgiving that year from South Carolina, who later raised me every summer. We'll get into that later. My grandmother had come up for Thanksgiving, and I partially ran away then. So Thanksgiving is in November, Christmas is in December. 7 years old. I ran away partially then because I ran down the street in the snow, no shoes, no nothing, 2 buildings down, to see my grandmother for Thanksgiving. My mom's got wind of it. She walked up the block and she whooped my ass. She beat me the whole way back home, up the block. My mother was very abusive.
Because you ran out with.
Because I went up the block to see my grandma.
Was that because you ran out with your shoes on?
No, it was because I went there for Thanksgiving. She didn't give a fuck. She could care less about me having no shoes on. She didn't want me going there celebrating no damn holiday. Okay. So the Thanksgiving is what prompted me running away permanently in December for Christmas. So that's basically it on the runaway part. Yeah, I was a runaway, a child runaway.
So your mother and father wasn't in the home together.
No, no, they were until
Okay.
I was. They were until I was, I think 5, maybe 5, 4 or 5. Until she
So
found.
so
Until
after
she.
you went to the group home,
Mhm. I didn't get to the group home until I was like
I'm sorry, go ahead.
13 or 14. I was in residential treatment facilities
Okay.
from age 9 to 13 because I was in St. Stephen, South Carolina. After I got the Penn's petition and they put me in the foster homes, I was running away from the foster homes. So my mother sent me to her mother in St. Stephen, South Carolina, my grandmother. So my grandmother practically raised me every summer. Because I would disappear every summer and wind up in St. Stephen, South Carolina at my grandmother's house, which is where I had my
So
first,
if I'm
which is
listening to your story,
with St. Stephen, South Carolina, which is here where I had my first taste of cocaine at like 9 or 10 years old. But we'll get into that later.
you did drugs at 9 or 10 years old? Hard
Yes,
drugs?
cocaine, one of the hardest. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Rick James said that. Yes, I had
Wow.
an uncle that was a car dealer. He was a sales manager at the time, but he indulged and he used to keep it in his Corvette, and he would be running in and out the house to hit the cocaine in the Corvette. So I'm watching him through the window, and that's how I wound up having my first taste of cocaine at 9 years, and I loved it. You know, my first hit, I was a fat kid. Okay, I was an obese child, and my first hit of cocaine, I
Mm.
ran around my grandmother's field like a maniac. It gave me so much energy, and I loved it from that. And I was basically hooked from then, but that's how it happened.
How did you know how to induce it into your body?
I watched him. I watched him through the window. I was a nosy kid, 9-year-old kid. I was watching every time. Here's why I watched him, because he was in and out my grandmother's door, and she was constantly yelling out my name. Don't be in and out my door, messing up my electric bill. That's what I was. So I'm like, what the heck is this man doing that he's running in and out the house every 2 to 5 minutes? Like, what the fuck is he doing? So I watched him through the window, through the kitchen window. His car was right out there. He had a '76 Corvette, red. And they didn't have glove compartments like in the traditional glove compartment. They had them right here by the emergency brake. So I watched him. I saw what he did. I did it, and that was it. And when I did it, I knew, oh, this is why. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So my uncle at the time, he had
So
built a. Yeah.
so I was wondering, so it hooked you from the first time you used it at 9 or 10?
9 years old. Hook. I loved it. I love the effect it gave me. It gave me energy.
Now, does that mean was either of your parents on drugs?
No, not at all. Never.
Hmm.
My father never even drank alcohol.
Wow.
Never smoked a cigarette. Never drank alcohol. My biological father. My stepfather I buried from cirrhosis of the liver. He was an alcoholic. Buried him in 2003, January 15th. Shout out Pops. Miss you,
Now, usually when I hear somebody's childhood, that goes in that direction,
Of drugs?
Fleece, my brothers, of group homes, foster home, drugs, I'm hearing prison in my head.
Nah, I became a. What you mean?
Like
At
it's
the end?
where I think. Well, you know, yeah. Whenever I heard the beginning starts off like that,
You
I
think that's
usually
what
heard jail and prison. I usually,
that's that's where people normally wind up, right? That's
right.
where people normally wind up. That's what you're saying. Well, on the flip side,
Yes.
your boy Bishop became a crooked preacher and a crooked cop and a college graduate. See, I flipped. I did the exact opposite of the statistics because even though I knew I was fucking up in life, I refused to become a statistic because I came from good stock.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. I don't know about those others. I don't know what kind of stock they came from, but I came from good stock. You know, and even though I was I don't know how to clean this up. Even though I was a foul up, I was educated. I knew the law and I knew the system. I knew the system from being a child in the system. So I survived.
So you said you became a preacher and a cop, a dirty cop.
A reverend doctor. Yeah, my actual title is Reverend Dr. John David Wilkerson, D.D., Doctor of Divinity. But I'm now a non-believer. We'll get into that later.
So yeah, you're right. I don't hear nobody becoming. Now the preacher part makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because usually preachers go through a lot and they become preachers.
Mm-hmm.
But the dirty cop part, how did you become a dirty cop?
You know they got that saying, God ain't gonna use nobody. They've been through nothing. That bullshit. You know how they go. But how did I become a dirty?
Yeah.
How did I become a dirty cop? You said. You said how?
Yeah, please.
Started out as a New York City. I started out as a New York City auxiliary police officer while I was in Samuel J. Tilden High School. Let me explain what that is. An auxiliary police officer, I said while I was in Samuel J. Tilden High School. Did you catch that? While I was in high school, I had a badge. It was a 5-star badge that the New York City Police Department gives you after going through their New York City Auxiliary Police Department Academy. So I went through that, became an auxiliary police officer while I was still in high school, which made it easier for me to get into the police academy because I was already in. Because you're supposed to be 21 before you become a bonded police officer. I didn't have to do that. I was 19 years old when I got out the academy. Because I was already in through my auxiliary program. I had hours, I had experience, I had the patrol hours, so they helped me out. Plus, my mother and father were in the police department at the time, so that also helped me out. I was connected before I got in.
So what made you a dirty cop at that point? Because you didn't become a dirty cop when you was in high school.
Nah, I was all about being. I was gung ho about being a great. I was gung ho about having a great police career, but I saw that shit wasn't possible. I saw that I would never be wealthy being a great police officer. But being that I told you, my moms and pops.
Hold on. Explain that for me.
You know a rich cop? You know any cops that's rich? You know any cops driving?
I can't say they're rich.
You know any cops? Oh, I'm talking wealthy. Because I had dreams of being wealthy from 5 years old. It ain't possible. You know what I'm saying? You can go straight to the damn top and be the commander in chief in the police department. You ain't gonna make no more than $150,000, $100,000, $200,000. That wasn't what I wanted as a child. But I had seen enough movies about dirty police officers to know that dirty police officers lived well if they did it right.
Okay.
I'm gonna say less. But you asked me, how did I become? Huh?
Yeah, how did you become? I understand how you became a police officer. How did you become a dirty one?
Cocaine. Huh? Cocaine. I was
Because
addicted
you
to
was
cocaine.
using it
Yeah, heavily.
the whole
All my
time.
life. All my life. And then they
From
gave it
9
to me.
years old.
Not consecutively every day from 9 years old, but once I started selling it at around 13. So after 13, I was consecutive every day with it until I got to be about 27, I think. 27 or 30, something like that. I had brain cancer and all kind of shit, bro. Glioblastoma, brain cancer,
We'll,
two
we'll,
brains.
we'll, we'll we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute. You done
Yeah,
blew my man with the being addicted to cocaine at 13 years old and all the way up to
right,
27.
right. Functional. Used it
But
all through
still,
college. Had great
what
job.
made you what made you a dirty cop? What makes a person a dirty cop? You was beating up people?
Okay. You want to know what I did? My bad. I'm slow, man. Oh, I used to rob drug
No,
dealers.
it's okay.
Yeah, I used to rob drug dealers and shoot pedophiles.
In New York.
And shoot pedophiles. And they're still unsolved. Okay, I don't know what this. There's no statute of limitations on murder in New York, so I'm gonna shut. I was yeah. I hate pedophiles. I hate them. I can't stand pedophiles, bro. Cause I was a victim of that bullshit. You understand what I'm saying? So when I had an opportunity, when I had the power to go and exact revenge on them, that's what I did. Am I proud of it? Hell
Okay,
no.
let's leave that part alone. The other part, you this cop and you're strung out on cocaine.
Oh, hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. If y'all want proof and all that shit, because I know y'all think a brother be lying. My tax registry, tax ID number was 430808. New York City Police Department, rank and file. I'm still on the books, suspended indefinitely. That way they can take my benefits, which they did because I failed the drug test. Next. We'll talk about that later, though.
So when you was a dirty cop, and quite naturally you didn't have to buy cocaine no more if you're a dirty cop.
At all. I had at all. I had backup cocaine for myself. It wasn't just cocaine. I mean, I snorted heroin, LSD, PCP. I did all that. I did it all. I've OD'd, overdosed twice in my life. The second time I was clinically dead for 18 minutes. Acute cocaine toxicity. The nurse said I coughed.
While I was being a police officer.
While I was yes, sir.
So how do you?
You heard of training
so
day?
your time as a yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You said training day.
Yeah, man.
Denzel?
I was ready to sue. I was ready to sue Denzel. Love Denzel. Great actor, man. That's my boy. Lonzo! Jake! You can't do this shit to me. King Kong ain't got shit. Yeah, that. I thought that they wrote that damn movie about my life because and ironically, I drove a blue 1978 Monte Carlo with some 18-inch Dayton spinners on them. Back at what year was it? I don't remember when I was Detective Wilkerson, 430808. I had a 78 Monte Carlo. It was light blue in color. And matter of fact, I had staggered rims on it. It had bigger rims in the back, wider rims in the back than it did in the front. Loved that car. So I thought they wrote that movie about my life, and
okay,
very strange.
So we'll get back to that too. You was a dirty cop and became a detective. How long was you a cop before you became a detective?
4 years. It was like, well, see, I can't really. It's really like 8 because I had the auxiliary experience also. So I guess it's like 8 years patrol experience. But 4 of them was unarmed, like as an auxiliary. Basically, auxiliary cops are street security. Cops out there with a whistle and no gun. I was really crazy to be doing that shit in Brooklyn, New York at the time.
Right.
But I wanted to be a cop and impress my mom and dad, so I did it.
So we're talking about the late 90s, early 2000s, right?
Correct. Because I graduated high school.
Man, there was a whole lot going on in New York.
Everything was. Twice. Yeah. Once in the morning and once in the evening. That's how it was. It's still like that. But ironically, it's like that everywhere now. See? Because everybody from New York,
Right.
they left and went to Kentucky and Indiana and Georgia and Florida and they took the same bullshit mentality that they had in New York and they take it to other places. So it's everywhere. It's prevalent everywhere now.
Okay, so you a dirty cop snorting cocaine.
Mm-hmm. I smoked crack for
You become
10 years. Go ahead.
Hold on, you smoke crack?
For like 10 years, bro. I was a sales manager of a car dealership. When I stopped smoking crack, what year I stopped smoking crack? What's this, 25? 2004, I stopped smoking crack.
Yeah.
When I stopped smoking crack, they were delivering it to my dealership, to my desk at $580 a day. $580 per day I was spending on crack cocaine as a salesman. Am I lying? That's how she met me. As a sales manager of a dealership. Okay? I take a customer on a 45-minute test drive. I'm looking for my man to meet me. That's who I was, man. I don't tell no lies.
So now okay. Now you go from being a police officer who runs into a drug dealer at traffic stops.
Mm-hmm.
Now you a full-blown detective, and that's all you investigate is drug dealers.
Never at a traffic stop, bro. You nuts? Too many people would see that shit. I'm hitting you at your crib. And I don't give a damn if your boys are there too. They giving up what they got. That's who I was. I'm not doing no traffic stop but shit you see on TV. That's craziness.
So you going into somebody's drug dealer's house.
Hold on, man. Everybody back then in Brooklyn had a damn JVC video camera attached to their fucking shoulder, bro. You nuts? They was waiting for cops to do shit. Nah, I wasn't gonna be that guy, man. I was not gonna shame my parents in the department. You feel me? I was a little. You gotta stay one. Listen, it's the 99% rule. You know what the 99% rule? You hustle spirit. You gotta know this shit.
I don't think I do.
You got to be 99% smarter than the 1% you fucking with. Keep your circle small and be smarter than who's in your circle. That's simple. And that's why I learned that at 19 years old.
So when you became a detective, of course, you was investigating drug dealers every day at that point.
Nah, first you gotta see the only reason I got Gold Shield detective within 18 months and 3 days of becoming a sworn officer. That's unheard of. 18 months to graduate detective school, unheard of. It was unheard of. And I only did it because I knew what the hell was going on where, because I was involved in it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was nothing for me to take in one of them kids that I went to school with. I knew what they was doing. I knew where they were. I hung out with them. I was a street kid. I was a little smarter than them.
So
you know.
Was you the detective when you rolled up? Everybody was like, "Oh, here he goes."
Not at all. Not at all. Those are the ones that get killed. Those are the ones that you read about got ambushed on 33rd Street and nobody know what the fuck happened to them. No, I wasn't going to be that guy. You got to be 99% smarter than the 1% you fooling with.
Wow.
I refused to become
So how long was you a detective?
Actually, I'm on the books right now, suspended indefinitely. So I'm still a fucking detective. How about that? They did that so they could take my pension and so they wouldn't have to give me my benefits. Suspended pending further investigation. Since 2000? We 25 years. What got me suspended? I failed a drug test after 9/11. And that's when I left the state of New York.
You failed a drug test after 9/11?
Yeah. Let me see. I don't know if you can see this or not, but
what's that, a prosthetic?
No, that's 2.
Two? What happened to your legs?
9/11. My team was the second responding unit of 9/11. That's what I know. What that say? Polo? That's how I got the nickname. No. That's how I got the nickname BishopLo as a 19-year-old. Yeah, there you go. That's proof positive right there. So now I don't have no benefits because I failed the drug test after 9/11. My team was a second responder unit, which is probably why I got all these cancers in my body. My left leg got crushed, and right leg I lost, I think in like 16 or 17 due to infection. So I'm a double amputee.
So you lost.
Say it again.
So you're a double amputee. So you lost one leg in one of the towers.
First tower.
The first one. And you lost the second leg in
2016. Yeah, I think it's 2015 or 16. I think my dad, my biological father died in 16, and I think I still had my leg. So it might have been. I can't fucking remember. I had brain cancer. I've had my brain opened twice in 21. So my short-term memory is horrible, but I can remember every fucking thing. I can remember talking to the rats and all that shit. It's very strange.
You done had 2 brain surgeries?
2. Go out 2 craniotomies in January of 2021 within 1 week.
We'll get back to that. But I wanted to ask you a question that me and you had previously talked about. You said before they had drug testers when they pulled people over with drugs.
Mm-hmm.
You told me how they actually trained y'all.
Yeah,
to know what a drug is.
Correct. I don't know if it's still in practice, but every unit academy trains a detective differently. Our commanding officer gave us the cocaine, gave us the heroin, gave it to us to try it, sample it, so we'll know what it was and the effects of it. So when we go on a buy and bust, we don't fuck up their case, as they say, when we go to court and we present to the judge a damn bag of gold medal flour for a kilo of cocaine or heroin or whatever substance. So you have to know you have to know what the drug is. You have to taste the drugs. You have to use the drugs to know what you out there buying and busting. But little did they know I was already hooked on that shit. So it was just a bonus for me. But it struck me as very strange.
So when Go ahead. I'm sorry. So
go ahead.
If they gave you the drugs in training,
they gave
when you pissed a dirty urine.
Say evidence. Don't say drugs. Say evidence, because the shit they gave us was evidence. It came directly out of the evidence room.
So you couldn't say you was they made you addictive at that particular point. So when they pissed you and it was dirty, Wouldn't it have been their responsibility?
I could say that they basically gave me permission to go ahead and continue with my own habit that I already had. Does that make sense?
Why didn't you fight that?
Fight what?
What you just said. They was able to take your benefits because of dirty urine, and they actually gave you the drugs to test.
It's not what you know, it's what you can prove. How can I prove that? I didn't record them when they were training. You think they're gonna say, yeah, we did that shit. That's how we trained our officers so they could be the elite team that they were. They ain't gonna do that. Listen, the system is designed to protect those in the system. Just us. Justus, not Juitice. Just us. If you in, you good. You know what I'm saying? Only good cop is a dead fucking cop. It's coming from a cop. Okay?
That's the only good cop. That's the only good cop is a dead cop.
That's what I said. They're all crooked.
So
they're all corrupt.
So
you know
if you went when you was what?
Because they all got dreams of making it to the top. Once you get that badge, it's a superiority complex that they give you. It's immediate. It's synonymous. You get a badge, you get an air of superiority about you. Okay? I know I'm not the only one. Can't be, because we got countless stories of corrupt police officers. Countless. We got corrupt police officers. We got murdering police officers. That murder shit, oh man, that's their whole goal. Make it home safe. Do whatever you got to do to get home safe to your family. Your family could be a parrot, okay? A bird. You got to get home safe to that bird. That's their mentality, and that's what they're taught. That's what's ingrained in them. The whole police force was created to catch slaves, but that's a whole nother conversation. Police were invented to catch runaway damn slaves.
So that police officer that reacts too quick to shoot an unarmed man
should have never been a police officer.
But he's told every morning.
If you pussy like that, then you don't need a gun. Huh? What you say, preacher? If you pussy like that, if your mammy raised a pussy like that, don't go into no damn job where your pussy is in danger. Point blank, period. With the T on the end.
So
that's bullshit.
So why do black police watch white police do this stuff in urban areas?
Because you said the word police. You could put black, green, yellow, purple, magenta, whatever color you want to in front of that shit. As long as it ends in police, it's one mindset. Color don't matter, unfortunately.
That's the blue wall you was talking about.
The blue wall is horrible, bro, and it's real. You cross that blue wall if you want to. See, I was just a rebel, so I didn't give a damn about no blue wall. I'm doing what I want to do regardless. Y'all do what y'all do, I'm gonna do what I do.
Was you making the money that you wanted to make at that time?
I was making $47,000 a year and living in a $2.1 million house. A six family home with tenants. Making $47,000 a year. Come on, man. I was doomed from the beginning. And I got all that shit, all them properties with ill-gotten gains from New York City Police Department. I don't know the statute on this shit, but hey, listen, it's what I did.
So it wasn't drug money?
I'm sorry? What you say now?
So it wasn't money you took from drug dealers and drugs you took from drug dealers?
It had to be if I'm living in a $2.1 million house making $47,000 a year. I wasn't. I mean, my daddy was still alive. He wasn't rich. He ain't leave me no fucking inheritance. My mama was still alive. She wasn't rich. Yeah, it was drug money. I was the plug at one point.
What was the most amount of money? What was the most amount of money that you ever got from a sting?
Cash? Probably like $130,000, something like that. But I had to get that $130,000 by walking in a room with only a 9mm with 5 niggas in there with Uzis and Mac 10s. Did you hear what I said? By myself.
And live.
You can't have no partners doing this bullshit, okay? Because then you got to do. I'm not good with fractions and math and all that shit. I know 100%. And if I get you for this, it's 100% mine if I'm by myself. The fuck? That's all I knew. And I also knew that I didn't want to have to put one of my partners down when, not if, when he decided to turn. Because they always turn. Always. Cops hate snitches, but they're the biggest fucking snitches in the world. Did you know that shit? Cops hate. They can't stand snitches. Confidential informants, detectives hate them. Use them to the fucking max. But they can't stand them. But let something go down and their asses in the water. Oh, they giving that information up. And they're so stupid because you're not really getting no lighter sentence once they put you in the fucking system. Especially if you black. They hard on you if you're black officer doing that book. Did you know that? Yeah. That's a whole nother topic. I smoke a lot of reefer because I deal with pain management from. I've had 2 different cancers: aggressive stage 2 pancreatic and glioblastoma brain. And I don't take narcotic pain medication like pills and shit. I don't take none of that because I'm an addict until the day I die. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta tell my shit that. Look, listen. If I could smoke crack right now, let me just be real honest with y'all. Can y'all see me? If I could smoke crack right now, I'd smoke it every day. I loved smoking crack. I'm just being honest. So it's a battle for me every day not to use drugs because I loved the drugs. I loved them. I loved the way they made me feel. I did. So I have to, every day, I have to fight my urge to get high. Right. That's been 20 years now, 2004, 20 years. 21 years.
What keeps you from doing it?
Reefer. And a strong personal resolve. I have a 28-year-old daughter, beautiful 28-year-old daughter, and a 13-year-old son. And I have a 3-year-old grandson. And I'm just at a point in my life where I refuse to fail. I ain't going back. You know what I'm saying? I got too much to lose at this point. I got a nice house. Well, not a nice house, but I own my home. And, you know, if I pick up a crack pipe, I'll be homeless in 8 days. I give you 8 days. I'll be homeless, no car, no nothing. I'll be sold.
You love it that much?
Yeah, man. I'm being real with you, brother. Yeah.
Well, I hope you don't pick that back up. You said 8 days.
I will never. 8 days I'll be wiped out. Calling my mama, say, hey, can I come sleep on the porch? But she ain't gonna let me in the damn door. But she'll let me sleep on the porch. Ain't no fucking way. I could never go back to that shit. Never. That shit don't let go, man. Hey, listen, if you watching this video and you stuck in the middle of your addiction, it's time to come on out of that shit. Especially right now. Everything got fentanyl in it, damn it. I don't even buy weed off the street no more. I gotta get that shit from straight from California. Cause I don't trust nothing. And it's the government that's doing it, y'all.
So you saying all the cocaine, heroin, meth, everything has fentanyl in there.
Everything. Weed. Bro, weed got fentanyl in it now. Everything.
Are you serious?
And say it again because you might have missed it. And it's the fucking government that's doing it. It's population control, baby. We gotta get rid of some of these motherfuckers. There's too many people. COVID. Let's get it. Let's get it. Coronavirus been out since the 60s, 70s. Been on fucking Lysol cans since 1970 something, I believe. Now all of a sudden it's a problem. The government, man. I am a conspiracy theorist till the day I die. I believe the government is trying to control this population through all these epidemics, pandemics. My personal opinion now, but I'm very rarely off.
Did you ever work in a prison or jail or anything as a correctional officer?
I worked as a detention officer in Henderson, North Carolina, at the Vance County Jail. What year was that? What was that for? Like almost 2 years. Anyway, yeah, I was a crook. I was selling weed, cocaine. What was popular back then? It wasn't called ecstasy. It was called whatever it was, pills. Yeah, I did that, and I almost got hemmed up in there. I'll tell you a quick story if you want.
Yeah, because Flea says the only way drugs are getting in jail now, I mean, really the only way they get in there is the correction officers.
Yeah. Right now see right now the correctional officers, they got drones to bring that shit in and drop it off, and they go to the location and pick it up. See, but me, I had to be the actual fucking idiot mule that was bringing in weed, cigarettes. A carton of Newports at the Vance County Jail when I was working there was $200. Have your family meet me at the Family Dollar General, hand me the money, and we make the transaction. And the man who my boss was at the time was named Hawley. His last name was Hawley. And his boss, who was the sheriff, was Thomas Breedlove. Racist bastards. They was the most racist people in that town, okay? And I went in there on my last day of work. And, you know, they have Sally Ports. You know what a Sally Port is?
I do not.
All right. Sally Port is how you get into the jail, okay? It's 2 gates. Well, at this jail, it was 2 gates. Once you go through the first one, the first one has to lock before the second one can open, and you can then gain access to walk into the building. Mm-hmm. You still got to go through a door once you get to the brick building, but those are the gates and the fences with all the barbed wire and shit around it. You ever seen those like at the entrance? Okay, that's the Sally Port. Yeah. Yeah. So I went through the first door. I went through the first door on the Sally Port, and it didn't close. Well, I noticed that the second door, I noticed this shit. That's the crazy part. I noticed it. I said, damn, the second gate is open, but the first one ain't closed. It was very strange. In my bag, I probably had like 3 cartons of Newports. I probably had about a half ounce of weed and maybe a little bit of cocaine from one of the inmates, right? I had already received my money from the family. The product ain't getting to the building until I got my goddamn money. So Mr. Hawley, they were already on to me because the week prior to that, the officers were talking. You know what I'm saying? So once you hear officers talking, you pay attention, you slow down. So I ain't do nothing for that week. And there was an inmate in there named Raheem. He had come from Central Prison in Raleigh. Central Prison is where they hold all the murderers that, you know, get life and all the rough ones. So we were holding him there until he went back. He had to come into Henderson for something, maybe a medical appointment. I can't remember. But he had arranged to get some weed and some cigarettes from me. Okay? So his family paid me. But I couldn't do nothing that week. That week was dead because they was talking amongst the officers. Long story short, he dropped my name. So I was number 1 on the list. So that day that Hawley had me come in, it was because he had dropped a dime. So first of all, Mr. Hawley was never, ever at the damn jail. Okay, that's red flag number 1. Hawley's in the jail. There's a damn problem. Number 2, I'm walking through the Sally Port and he's standing there with his arms folded. That's red flag. The hairs on my neck was already up. He said, Officer Wilkerson, I need to see your bag. I said, oh, hold on. I was a preacher at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I said, hold on. I forgot my Bible and my lunch in the car. I had a 72 Cadillac Fleetwood at the time. Green with a brand new ostrich tan top on it. Yo, The way I smoked the wheels on that Cadillac when I got through that damn Sally, when they let me out of it, they actually listen now. They had me. They had me. They closed the damn Sally port, so I was stuck. You are not getting out that fucking jail unless you get out through that Sally port. Okay, so he let me out to go get my Bible and my lunch, and never saw me again. I fucking left Henderson. I left the city of Henderson after mailing them their uniform. I mailed them their uniform and their badge. And I left Henderson and moved to Durham, North Carolina, and became a city bus driver. Yeah. So what was the original question? I'm sorry, man. I'll be going off on something about, oh, yeah. The offices are definitely, that's the only way it's getting in there, man. Because it's not coming in through the mail anymore. That used to be a thing. But no.
So it's 100% guaranteed.
100%. All corruption is coming through the law enforcement. The ones who are supposed to enforce the law are the ones who's breaking the damn law. Because it was so many of those officers. I was making like maybe, when I did the math, I think I was maybe making like $16 an hour at that fucking county jail. That was deplorable for a grown ass man to be getting $16 an hour to protect a bunch of grown ass men and women, putting their life in danger. So, you know, I'm an opportunist. If I see an opportunity, I'm gonna take advantage of it. I saw the opportunity and I did it. Am I proud of it?
Now, I'm not trying to jinx you or anything, but how did you not evade prison?
When you say jinx me, what you mean? Oh, I haven't. I got murder charges against me right now in the city, in the state that I live in. Right now. Got my house on the line for a mechanic that was living in my house that I'm accused of murder.
You get
it's all on my YouTube channel. It's all documented.
Hold on. Say it again.
I have pending murder charges against
me in
Williamsburg County, South Carolina. All documented and verifiable on YouTube. Interrogation by the sheriff department and all. On my YouTube channel.
What is go ahead and give them your YouTube channel so they can follow you over there.
I believe it's BishopLo on the go, capital B, lowercase ISHOP. I think it's capital LO. BishopLo on the go. The blind legless sensation. That's me. Because I'm legally blind. I have no vision in my left eye. I own a taxi.
So you legally blind.
I own a taxi.
Double amputee.
I own a taxi company. I drive taxi every day. Drive people around and shit. Legally fucking blind.
You drive people around and you blind?
Every day. Legally. I just got arrested yesterday. Yes, was it yesterday? I just got arrested yesterday. Habitual felon driving while license revoked. South Carolina. I own a taxi company. So what am I saying to you? Let me inspire you for a moment. Okay? If you sitting on your ass, wondering why you broke, why you wondering why you can't eat, and you just sitting on your ass and you're not trying to get up and make a difference, I ain't got no legs and I can't see shit. But I still figure out a way to make it happen. And so should you. You ain't got no excuse. That's it.
You know, I'm gonna have you on again. I don't think we covered a portion of your life. I appreciate you. I know it. It's still a lot. I didn't even ask. We just running short on time, but I didn't probably ask 15, 20 questions I had. So do you mind coming back for another one?
I have no issue with that, brother. I like your spirit. Yo, you ever seen this guy? It's a little off topic, but you ever seen this guy that does the he does the ring ring doorbell videos where he's a robber His name is Chris Campbell or something like that. He does it. He rings the bell and then he talks to the people through the ring camera. You kind of favor him though, and you also look like my cousin just passed away. I just buried last week, Randy, man. So,
I'm sorry about that.
You got a good spirit. That's my whole point.
I appreciate that, man. And,
it's a hustler spirit.
That's right. And your channel is BishopLo on the go. So make sure y'all go support him, like and subscribe.
On Facebook, I'm JD Wilkerson. That's WILKERSON. And I'm the guy in the picture with no legs. You know, that's me.
Man, like I said, I want to thank you again. And we definitely gonna do this again. So I appreciate you doing this with me today, and blessings to you, my brother.
Blessings to you, my brother. Church.